Digital nomad versus USA lifestyle, which one wins for your wallet? As someone who has lived both lifestyles, lived in Atlanta, Georgia for 10 plus years, lived in Houston, went to college in Huntsville, Texas, and Houston, Texas, and as someone who has traveled to 42 countries, hosted retreats all around the world, traveled through 12 plus countries during the global pandemic, and in beautiful spaces and places like this co-working and co-living in Bali. In this video, I am breaking down the real behind the real and sharing the insights into the lifestyle, into the pros and cons, and is it more affordable to live abroad, or does it just look like that on Instagram? So, what is the digital nomad lifestyle? The digital nomad lifestyle is traveling from Bali to Vietnam, from Colombia to Croatia, and everything in between. It's choosing how rapidly you want to move or how slow you want to travel. For example, right now I'm in this beautiful space in place, a Sunrise Villas close to Canggu, but in Tabanan. And I've stayed here over the last 2 months, about a month and a half, because after traveling with my parents to Thailand and to Bali and moving every 10 days, I wanted a slower pace. I wanted to connect with more with community. I wanted to be part of local gyms. There's times though that I move more rapidly. It's times that I move more slowly. And I stay in this amazing place for less than $600 a month, which if you think about compared to so many places around the world is mind blowing in every single way. So let's compare, the pros and the cons and the cost of living. So that's an example in Bali. In Vietnam, I stayed in a place for less than 400 a month, which obviously lets your dollar go further, lets you pay off debt, lets you save money, lets you give more, just all of those things. On top of that, even on a cost of living basis. So here, I just gave you some examples of, costs in life as a digital nomad. Food, you can easily live off of less than, 200 to 400 a month, depending on how often you cook, how often you eat out. I also order Herbalife Nutrition all around the world. Now compare that to US. When I lived in Atlanta for the last 10-ish years before traveling full time again from 2022, I was spending just on an efficiency, granted with beautiful amenities, about $1,700 a month. On top of that, gym membership. On top of that, about $600 a month for food. On top of that, about say 200 to 300 for transportation, depending when I took Uber, which is like Grab in Asia, and when I took the train in Atlanta. And then also some of the pros versus cons. If you grew up in the Western world, you're going to be more comfortable and confident with some styles of living, some amenities, some, things we maybe take for granted versus maybe in Asia or in South America or in Central America. It's different. I went months in Central America without warm water. I went months without having the experience of a bathtub. And for me, taking baths is like a love language. So when I first experienced a warm bathtub in Portugal, it was like the skies and the heavens, opened up, and it was like, ah, and all the angels were singing. So, friends, let's talk about now some money mindset tips if you decide to travel the world. So, a couple of things you want to think about, which, let's be honest, let's be real, I didn't think about either. And different things in the middle of the pandemic, I realized, wait a minute, yes, the world's shut down. Yes, I can stay here and sit in Atlanta. And I also have a choice. You can have the pandemic. I don't want the pandemic anymore. When my lease was expiring at the end of the year of 2020, I left. Literally through a miracle, a surprise from and grace of God, and showering from heaven, I ended up getting a free ticket through Delta points that I didn't even remember that I had. And so I flew to Costa Rica for free. So money mindset and tips. Let's think about things like, okay, how can you pitch brands to stay for free and or get paid so that automatically can start to cut down your cost of living? Like I literally just pitched both for paid work and free trade work with Ecuador, which is where I'm headed to next, yesterday, with the help of ChatGPT, my bestie, that you definitely want to check out my video, 100 Ways I Use ChatGPT. Then you want to think about ways and analyze and use how you spend money. Cut out different expenses or subscriptions or things that you're using that you're not going to need anymore. Amazon, Netflix, you're going to have too much fun having adventures around the world. You want to think about your healthcare, things like insurance for travelers, like Safety Wing, that I also include in my Creator Circle and my 75 tips, tools, and tech that you can find down below. And then beyond that, so let's talk about which one wins for your wallet and which is the best choice for you. So clearly, depending where you travel and how you travel the world, the traveling abroad wins for your wallet. It's not just the algorithm. It's not just what you see on Instagram. At the same time, if you stay in luxury stays and you pay $200-300, a night, clearly that's more expensive. However, with Airbnb and different things, most hosts will discount your stays 30, 40, 50% when you book for the month. That's a pro tip. That's a travel tip. So if your goal is freedom, flexibility, working from places like this, working from outdoor spaces, because I can tell you, as a former corporate executive that used to be almost imprisoned in boardrooms with no windows, repeat meetings because people didn't do their job and get the shit done that they were supposed to. I went and told my boss, I'm unavailable to have the same meeting 2-3 times a week anymore after it happened twice because these people aren't doing their job and they're adults and they're grown men and women. And so I think because of that experience of 30 plus hours a week in meetings, I'm almost allergic to working inside with no windows. In fact, I prefer to work outside. So if your goal is freedom, flexibility, lower cost of living, like what I shared, then I would say being a digital nomad is speaking to your soul. If your goal is stability, being close to those that you love for whatever reasons, although I can say I know many couples, many parents that travel the world freely and still find stability in the flow. But if that's your goal, maybe it's stateside. At the same time, digging in deep and asking yourself, what is for you? So comment down below. Is it digital nomad? Is it stateside? And then I would love to see you in the Creator Circle and the preview of the Creator School, where I showcase so many things on health, money, business, and travel, like how to make and manage money like a boss, like how to travel the world and get paid to travel, friends. So tell me if you're traveling the world. Tell me if you thought about traveling the world. Tell me how you're managing your expenses with rising costs in the US and Europe. And let's create it.